Time flies, it's already October, which means that we're close to more massive releases like Spider-Man 2. I can, by the way, confirm that I have the game. Sony sent me a code and my review will go live on Monday, October 16th. So more soon, really exciting. But for now, we got some GTA 6 teases, Far Cry 7 leaks, and way more gaming news to go over. I want to start with a rumor that we discussed previously that has now been confirmed. The Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition is indeed coming. It's already launching this week, October 6th on PS5 and in early 2024 for PC. And it's done by the PlayStation port studio Nixxes, who has recently ported Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart and the two Spider-Man games to PC. And they were all great ports, unlike The Last of Us, but that was done by Naughty Dog, and the original Horizon was done by Guerrilla Games, and of course also had some issues. So I have hope that Forbidden West will be a solid port. And it's a pretty sweet deal, because for $60 you get all the deluxe edition items and the Burning Shores DLC as well, while other PlayStation titles that were being ported to PC all launched at full price without extra content. So yeah, this news is great for people who haven't played Horizon 2 yet and want those keyboard and mouse controls, and it's another one down from that internal Sony document that appeared online. So next up, the Horizon Zero Dawn PS5 remaster and Horizon Online, and I would not be surprised if one of those launches in 2024. And of course, the GTA 6 is also rumored for 2024, with Take-Two expecting $8 billion in revenue between April 2024 and March 2025, while they normally make around the $5 billion in revenue each year. Now they would need more games for that $3 billion boost. Something like Borderlands 4 I think makes sense, with it by the way showing up on a LinkedIn profile from Nicholas, who had worked on the game from November 2021 till April 2023. So that's been in the works for quite some time. But going back to GTA 6, because Rockstar put up this tweet where the characters are perfectly in front of the Vinewood sign. So we see VI, which of course makes 6 in Roman numerals. Like, I think this is 100% a setup, meaning that we might get a official reveal very soon. Red Dead Redemption 2 was also teased and announced in October. Like, October is also just before Take-Two's Q2 earnings call. And they did it like with their previous earnings call as well. Announced that stupid PS4 and Switch re-release of the first Red Dead Redemption. So they have something like exciting to talk about when the current financials might not be that great. And of course, announcing GTA 6 before your earnings call will overshadow everything you will say. So maybe they will do it in the coming weeks. Like, if GTA 6 is really planned for next year, it only makes sense. And let me know if you think it will happen in the comments down below. Now, less positive news. Remember that Knights of the Old Republic remake that Sony announced at their PlayStation Showcase in 2021. Yeah, we already heard that there were some issues behind the scenes with it switching developers from Aspire Media to Saber Interactive, causing them to completely restart. Well, it seems like the project is completely dead now, as Sony made the announcement trailer private and also removed the announcement tweet from their account. Many red flags. Sony now did say that the trailer was delisted because the licensed music expired, but it was the Star Wars theme for a Star Wars game, so how does that license expire? And then why remove the tweet? When asked if the game was still in development, they did not respond. So RIP, I think, sadly. While the Star Wars Eclipse game from Quantic Dream, also announced in 2021, is still very much alive. We now learned that it's very similar to previous Quantic Dream games, with intricately branching narratives, the ability to play as different characters, and another key element is that no matter how badly you screw up or who dies, the game's story will keep on chugging. So there's once again no game over screen. It has been more than 5 years now though since the recent big Quantic Dream game, Detroit Become Human, but Eclipse still seems very far away. The type of gameplay though in the Star Wars universe I think could be cool. I'm curious if you would be down. Of course, let me know in the comments down below. And yes, there's way more gaming news to go over and leaks as well. Of course, if you like these weekly news roundup videos, just giving the video a like would really show your support, so thanks for that. And subscribe, because I post one of these every Sunday. Now, it does seem that another State of Play is coming, maybe before the end of the year, as Kojima was spotted editing a potential Death Stranding 2 trailer, and it's hard to see, but on Reddit, people spotted that it says State of Play in the project title. So Kojima either missed the previous State of Play that just happened, or he's prepping for the next one. The latter, of course, is more likely, but that state of play would then be very close to the Game Awards on December 7th. So why not keep that trailer for that show then, which is also where the game was announced last year. I totally think Sony will do another state of play to promote the February titles like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Helldivers 2. So maybe Kojima will be part of that, although I can also see the trailer show up at the Game Awards. And the state of play could be where we get a proper goodbye for Jim Ryan. You likely saw the news, but the PlayStation boss is retiring in March 2024 after having been at Sony for almost 30 years. Hiroki Totoki, and I hope I pronounced that right, who's now the COO and the CFO of the Sony Group Corporations, will take over in April until they have found a new boss for PlayStation. Hard to predict who will follow it up. I will of course keep you posted here. And it's going to be an interesting time because sure, the PlayStation 5 has been a success so far. We had some incredible games, but a lot of the new bets from Sony, like making more mobile titles, doing a lot of live service games, has not really started yet. And actually so far has been pretty lackluster. We got pretty boring trailers for titles like Concord and Fair Games. Like, these games don't look that appealing at all. And Fair Games, by the way, looked a lot like Hyenas from Sega, and that title actually got cancelled this week while it was very close to release. Like, other publishers are slowly backing out of the live service genre, not to mention the amount of resources that Naughty Dog has put into the Last of Us multiplayer game that might not even come out now. Like, they could have maybe been close to launching a new single player game if they immediately focused on that. So, interesting times for Sony. Can they make their new plans work, or will they just be forced to go back to what already worked for them, which might limit their overall growth? Now let's talk Far Cry 7. Super credible leaker Tom Henderson has a new report up on Insider Gaming, and it sounds pretty interesting. So the game should have a non-linear story where we have to rescue our family. We are part of a wealthy family, and a conspiracy group called the Sons of Truth has taken them. But the twist is that we seemingly only have 72 in-game hours, which is 24 gameplay hours to save them, and the time only does not progress when we are in our safe house. So we can go after our family members in the order we choose, similar to previous Far Cry games, but again, we only have 24 gameplay hours to do so, and family members can also be killed off, which will impact the story. So there are multiple outcomes, but if you want to 100% the game, you will have to save all of them. Which kind of reminds me, if we stay with Ubisoft, of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where the final scene at the dinner table was of course different depending on who was still around based on the choices you made. Far Cry 7 should also introduce a new interrogation mechanic, where you can get intel from an enemy to help you find your family members. Now sometimes the enemy will give you information, sometimes they will lie, stay quiet, or sometimes even escape. So it won't be as easy as in Ghost Recon, for example, where the enemy will almost always tell you something, but maybe more like LA Noire, where you kind of had to read the facial expressions and listen to what the NPC had to say in order to figure out if they were telling the truth. Like, Far Cry needs a breath of fresh air, and this does sound like it, while of course also not moving away from the open world, taking down this extreme group type of gameplay. Now, two things that I'm curious about: how does the day and night cycle work if you only have like 72 hours in game, so 3 full in-game days? Does that mean that we will have very long nights? And it would also be cool if the world would be alive for the full 72 hours. So if NPCs had a full schedule, meaning that if you would go to this family member first, they would maybe be in a different spot than if you would go look for them lost, because maybe they moved that person, or maybe they were more hurt, already killed. They can do a ton of cool stuff with this. I'm curious to hear your take, of course, in the comments down below. And things could, of course, still change. The game is planned for fall 2025 and will, by the way, be swifting from the regular Far Cry engine to Snowdrop. So that's the engine of The Division, of course, but also used in Star Wars Outlaws and Avatar, and with Avatar, of course, being heavily inspired by Far Cry, they might take some things from that. Now, real quick, in last week's Sunday video, I talked about Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, and how I think it looks really cool, but might get hurt by the original November 7th date. Well, a few days after that video went live, Focus actually delayed the game to February 13th to avoid an intense release cycle, which is smart. February is getting pretty crowded too now though, with Suicide Squad, and I already mentioned Helldivers 2 and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But if the game is good, I do think it can stand on its own. Now this coming week, a little game called Assassin's Creed Mirage will be released. That will of course be all over it. Expect streams, videos, like tips and tricks, my review without any story spoilers of course. It's going to be good, I really can't wait. And this will be starting Wednesday, October 4th. Maybe there will be some other videos as well. And of course the Sunday video at the end of the week with your news roundup. So subscribe to not miss it. A like on the video would really help me out. And check out last week's video by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.